My name is Brian Matthew Whirledge. I'm an Orthodox iconographer. I've been painting icons for 17 years, professionally for about 11, and I've been painting full-time for about 3 years. I was approached by Legacy Icons to paint an icon of all of the authors of the Bible, the Holy Scriptures. So I took their original idea and kind of fine-tuned it. I worked on a couple sketches. Originally, I was going to have the four evangelists, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, in the center, flanked on each side by St. Peter and Paul. Because the gospel is like that's the center of the Bible. That's the most important part. That's the only part of the Holy Scriptures that are enshrined on the altar. However, as I was sketching and working on the composition, I was looking at icons of the 12 apostles, and St. Peter and Paul are always center, and often they're holding a church. So I thought that was a really important feature to have St. Peter and Paul holding the church, because I think it's important to realize that the Holy Scriptures come from the church and not the other way around. The church doesn't come out of the Bible comes out of the church. And so St. Peter and Paul are holding the church as the pillars of the church, and then Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are on each side of them, and then Jude and James. We also have a book that's open that says the first words of Genesis and the first words of the Gospel of John. So in the beginning is in Hebrew from Genesis, was the Word is in Greek from John. And then this book is on the Lord's throne. So there's a motif in iconography called the etimasia, which means like the prepared throne. And so there's this empty throne that's waiting for the Lord to sit in it, awaiting the second coming. And so there's this throne with a cushion. There's usually a closed gospel book, or the book of life. And then behind the throne are the instruments of the Passion: the cross, the nails, the spear, the sponge, the reed. And then in the second, third, and fourth rows are all the prophets from the Old Testament. So front and center is Moses. He kind of sums up everything. Genesis and the whole Torah is really kind of the foundation of the Old Testament. And then we have the other prophets around him. Right above him is David, which he wrote most of the Psalms, which are the way we encounter the Old Testament the most in the church is through praying the Psalms. So David has a central place of importance, and then the other prophets, and then the Lord is in heaven, looking down on His church, blessing and inspiring all of these prophets and apostles to write these Holy Scriptures.
This is the first time an icon like this has ever been done, right?
It is, to my knowledge. I couldn't find any. There's individual icons and frescoes of the prophets, but to my knowledge, there's no icon where everyone is, or even all the prophets are together, or that kind of this kind of composition. So it's a really wonderful project to approach and to paint. So it's a wonderful time to reflect on all these wonderful men and these wonderful books and stories, and it was a really wonderful project. So
it'll be treasured for generations.
Yeah. Lord willing, yeah.